8 years before he had seen his friend off at the North Wall and wished him Godspeed, Gallagher had got on. You could tell that at once by his traveled air, his well-cut tweed suit, and fearless accent. Few fellows had talents like his, and fewer could remain unspoiled by such success. Gallagher's heart was in the right place, and he had deserved to win. It was something to have friends like that. Little Chandler's thoughts ever since lunchtime had been of his meeting with Gallagher, of Gallagher's invitation in the great city of New York where Gallagher lived. He was called Little Chandler because, though he was slightly under average stature, it gave one the idea of being a little man. The friend he had known under shabby and necessitous guise had become a world-renowned editor. Chandler felt how useless it was to struggle against fortune, this being the burden of wisdom which experience had given him. He remembered all the old poems sitting on his shelves at home. He had bought them in his bachelor days, and many an evening he sat in the little room off the hall. He had been tempted to take one down and recite it to his wife, but shyness had always held him back, and so the poems had remained on the shelves, gathering dust. At times, he repeated the lines to himself to make him feel better. Chandler had never been inside the toilets, but he knew the value of the name. He knew that people went there after the movies to eat oysters and drink liquor, and he had heard that the waiters there spoke French and German. Walking by, he saw cabs parked outside the bar, and richly dressed ladies escorted by bouncers entered quickly. They wore loud and colorful dresses, and their faces were caked in makeup. He had always passed without turning his head to look. He liked to be courageous and take shortcuts through people's lawns. As he walked boldly forward, the surrounding silence troubled him. The wandering, shadowy figures troubled him, and at times, a sound of low, fugitive laughter frightened him.
Hey, there you are.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
What can I get you, gentlemen?
Well, I'm going to have some whiskey, better here than where I usually get it. What about you, Tom? Soda, water, no mineral? I'm the same, ruins the taste.
Well, I think I'll have it.
All right, you know what? Just give us 2 glasses of whiskey. So how have you been?
I'm alright. I'm alright. How about you?
Been better. Jesus, man, you look old. Me, I don't look too bad. You, on the other hand, you got the grandpa look.
Oh, shit, nice asshole.
Anytime. It pulls you down, depressed life, always running around looking for copies, and sometimes I'm finding them, then always having something new to write about. Damn proofs and printers. I'm glad I can get away from it all for a few days and come back home. Nice to have a break. I feel a lot better being back here in Virginia.
Alright, gentlemen, here are your drinks. Need any water? Yes, say when.
You know what's good for you. I drink mine straight.
When? I drink very little much as a rule. Just a half one every now and then when I'm with the old gang. That's all.
Well, anyway, here's to us. Old times and old friends. Met some of our old friends today. Well, Harris seems to be in rough shape. What's he been doing?
Nothing. He's been a bum since you left.
Hogan's been doing well, right?
Yeah, actually, he works for the State Department.
Yeah, I actually met him one night in New York and he seemed very drained. Poor old hero. Alcohol, I suppose.
Among other things.
Tom, see, you haven't changed at all. Still the same serious person who used to lecture me on Sunday mornings when I had a headache. Have you never been anywhere outside of Virginia?
I've been to Virginia Beach a couple of times.
Virginia Beach? No, go to New York or Los Angeles, LA, for example. That'd do you some good.
So have you ever seen LA?
Been there a few times.
Is it really all it's cracked up to? Jesus.
Cracked up? Not really. You know, of course it's great and all, but it's the life of LA. That's the thing. There's no city like LA for all the movement and excitement.
I'll take another.
Okay. I've been to the Moulin Rouge, and I've been to all the bohemian cafes, hot stuff, not for stingy people like you, Tom.
Here you are, gentlemen. Here's another toast.
Gallagher's accent and way of expressing himself did not please Chandler. There was something bolder in his friend which he had not observed before. But perhaps it was only a result of living in New York amidst the hustle and bustle and competition of the New York Times.
Everything in LA is great. They believe in enjoying life, and wouldn't you agree? You want to enjoy yourself, you gotta go to LA.
Tell me, is it true that LA is so wild as they say it is?
Every place is wild, Tom. Of course, you do need to find exciting things in LA. Go to one of the student parties, for example.
I've heard of it.
Say what you like.
Well, I guess it is kind of a wild city, at least in comparison to New York or Alexandria.
New York, it's 6 in one hand and half a dozen in the other. You can ask Hogan. I showed him a bit about New York when he was over there. You'd open your eyes and say, Tom, don't wait to smell that whiskey. Drink up.
Come on, really?
Insist.
Oh, all right.
Another round.
All right, so.
Tell you my opinion, it's a cold world. Talk of wild, I've heard of cases. No, I've known some wild cases.
He summarized the vices of many capitals. Some things he could not vouch for, but others he had personal experience with. He spared neither rank nor caste. He revealed many of the secrets of the corrupt politicians and described some of the practices that was fashionable on Wall Street. He ended up telling, with detail, a story about a banker's wife, a story which he knew to be true.
Wow.
Well, here we are in boring old Virginia, where nothing is known of such things.
You must find it quite dull after all the other places you've seen.
Well, now that I think about it, it's actually kind of relaxing to come over here, you know. And after all, it's my hometown, isn't it? You can't help having a certain feeling of it's human nature. But tell me something about yourself, Logan. You told me you had gotten married 2 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah. For 12 months since last May.
Well, it's not too late to offer you my best wishes. I didn't know your address, or else I would have sent something. Well, I wish you and yours all the happiness in the world, tons of money, and may you not die till I shoot you. And that's the wishes of a good friend, an old friend. You know that, right?
Of course.
Good. So do you have any kids?
Yeah, just one.
Son or daughter?
No girl.
Congrats. Wouldn't doubt you for a second.
I hope you come spend dinner with us before you go back. My wife will be right to meet you.
Thanks. I'm sorry we didn't meet earlier. I have to leave tomorrow.
Well, then tonight, perhaps?
Sorry. I'm over here with another friend. Smart young guy he is too. He arranged to go to a little card party only for that.
Oh, in that case.
But who knows? Next year I may take another trip over here. Now that I've broken the ice.
Very well. Next time you come, you must have people.
Agreed. Next time I come over here. Promise. Well, bottoms up. This is gonna be your last one because you know I have an AP.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
How about one more round?
Sure, sir.
Three small whiskeys had gone to Chandler's head, and Gallagher's strong cigar had confused his mind, for he was a delicate and abstinent person. The adventure of meeting Gallagher after 8 months, of finding himself at Gallagher in coalescence, surrounded by lights and noise, of listening to Gallagher's stories, and of sharing for a brief space Gallagher's vagrant and triumphant life, of set with subtleness of his sensitive nature. He felt acutely the contrast between his own life and his friends, and it seemed something higher than mere flashy journalism, if he only got the chance. What was it that stood in his way? His unfortunate timidity? He wished to vindicate himself in some way, to assert his manhood. Who knows? When you come over next year, I might have the pleasure of wishing you a long life with Mrs. Gallagher.
I'm not worried about that. I'm gonna have a fling first and see a bit of the world before I settle down, if I ever do.
I'm sure you will someday.
Think so?
I mean, you will eventually, once you meet the right girl.
If that ever happens, you can bet your bottom dollar there will be no question about it. I'm gonna marry into a wealthy family. She'll have a nice, fat bank account, or she's not for me. You only have to say the word, and tomorrow I'll have the woman and the money. Don't believe me? Well, it's the truth. There are hundreds, hell, thousands of rich Germans and Jews spoiled rotten with money. They'd be more than happy. You wait in a while, see if I don't play my cards right. When I go about a thing, I mean business. I tell you, just you wait and see. But I'm in no hurry. They can wait. Not fun of tying myself down to one woman, you know. Must be boring after a while, I think.
Getting pretty late. Guess we should head home. Yeah, probably right.
It's great seeing you again.
Yeah, right. Yeah, good to see you.
Here, don't wake her.
She wore a white shirt with black stripes, which he had brought her at home as a present on one Saturday. It had cost him $100, but what an agony of nervousness it had cost him. How he suffered that day, waiting at the shop door until the shop was empty, standing at the counter and trying to appear at ease, while the girl piled ladies' blouses before him, paying at the desk and forgetting to take up the odd penny of his change, being called back by the cashier. Certainly her eyes were pretty, and her face itself was pretty, but he found something he didn't like. Why was it so unconscious and ladylike? The composure of the eyes irritated him. He thought of what Gallagher had said about rich Jewesses. Those dark oriental eyes, he thought. How full of passion they are, of voluptuous longing. Why had he married the eyes in the photograph? A volume of Byron's poems lay before him on the table. He opened it cautiously with his right hand, lest he would waken the child, and began to read the first poem in the book. Hushed are the winds, and still the evening glow. Not yin as zephyr wanders through the grove. Whilst I return to view my martyrd's tomb, and scattered flowers on the dust below. It was useless. He couldn't read. He couldn't do anything. The wailing of the child pierced the drum of his ears. It was useless. Useless. He had become a prisoner for life. Stop it. Stop. Stop. Come on.
What have you done to her?
Nothing. She just began to start crying.